Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video. Welcome to r/MaliciousCompliance, the hilariously rule-abiding subreddit, where our first post is submitted by user/Jangleberry112. I worked at a small, less than 100 people video game studio about a decade ago. The studio did mostly console ports for large publishers, and was notorious for severely underpaying its employees. And for screwing employees out of contracts so that the boss could make a profit, which he never shared with the company. When I became a manager, I tried to lobby for higher pay for my hourly workers, as the pay was $8 an hour in 2011. And there were 3 guys on my team so broke they were literally living in their car in a parking lot. Boss, who was also co-owner of the studio, frankly said to me, "I'll continue to pay $8 an hour until I can't find anyone willing to work for $8 an hour." He was also notorious for bringing on unpaid interns, making them do the work of a full-time employee, promising them employment at the end of the internship, then breaking his promise. Boss was notorious for being a tightwad. He excluded hourly employees from company meals during OT, and would claim he was feeling generous when he would let the hourlies eat after all the other employees had already cleared out 2/3 of the food, and what was left was stale and congealed. At one point, a contract with a larger company fell through, and Bossman let half of the studio know about their layoffs by holding a meeting for them in the parking lot, and letting employees know that their jobs were gone and their passes to the doors were disabled, and they could expect their belongings mailed back to them in a week. He let some employees go in to get things like wallets and car keys, but under security escort. Time comes for a release party for a game that got released before this mass layoff happens. Bossman emails out to the whole company, letting everyone know how generous he's feeling, that he's going to allow all the laid-off employees on the project to come to the release party of the game they made. It was a swanky place in town known for high-end cocktails, among other things. Bossman writes in his email invite that there was a $15 per drink limit. What he meant to say was that each person at the party had a $15 limit for drinks for the night total. What the bar and everyone else interprets correctly as that there was a $15 per drink limit. Employees stifled giggles as they read the email invite that was also sent as instructional to the bar, and excitedly exchanged text messages and emails with the laid-off employees. Bossman is also notorious for not showing up to his own parties until 2 hours in. Cue the night of the party. Everyone shows up bright and early, and as soon as the party officially starts, everyone swarms to the bar asking for the most expensive cocktails and liquor the bar had to offer. People were downing French 75s and Ramos gin fizzes and 35-year-old shots of Glenfiddich. Every employee and former employee was 5 or 6 fancy cocktails in, and 3 shits to the wind by the time Bossman shows up. He saunters in to cheers and pats on the back from laid-off employees who are so drunk by now that they probably saw 3 of him. He smiles and waves magnanimously, thinking the former and current employees were drowning their sorrows at their own cost. He wanders up to the bar to check with the barkeep and see what the damage was so far. After 20 seconds of conversation, the smile from his face had disappeared completely and been replaced with a scowl. Words are spoken, barkeep disappears and comes back with the manager. Tenser words are exchanged with the manager, who disappears into a back office and returns with a piece of paper, presumably a copy of whatever contract Bossman had made for the party. The bar and the drinking partiers were in the right. The company at the time was not financially able to handle the price of the drinks, and Bossman was made to pay the cost out of his own pocket. Sadly, he was not able to afford a Porsche and a BMW that year. The company had to shutter about a year after this event. And that, kids, shows the importance of always double-checking your emails. At a cost of $15 a drink, this man might as well have bought liquid gold for his employees and let them drink that. Our next post is from user/acidic paper and actually comes from the subreddit Tales from Your Server, but is also a beautiful example of malicious compliance. About a year ago, I remember the restaurant I used to work in. A notable sports bar was playing a very important football match. Arguably the most important of the season. 2 months prior to the match, we were getting calls for reservations, and by the final week, we had every table booked. Now, something you should know about our restaurant is that it is set up quite oddly. Some tables have a better view of our TVs, whereas others don't. That's compensated somewhat by the availability of 2 pull-down projector screens. Anyway, this particular story relates to such a table. If you imagine walking into the restaurant, the table is facing horizontally to the nearest TV. So without the projector screen, there would be 2 guests with their backs to the action. Then arrive the guests. Everything seems to be going fine. They arrive early and I take them to their table. The lead of the group, let's call him Chad, obviously isn't that much impressed.
How the F are we supposed to watch TV?
Frankly, I'm a little taken aback by his language, but given it's game day and it's understandably frustrating. From his point of view, he probably isn't aware of the projector screen. Well, we do... That's when he interrupts.
Can we sit over there?
He's pointing to an 8-seater booth. I know why. It's because it has arguably the best view of our biggest TV. Nevertheless, his is a 4-man booking and the 8-seater is obviously already booked. That's a book table, as is every other, and again with another interruption.
Well, effing put someone else here. We want to sit there.
Bearing in mind, his 3 other mates are silent throughout. In retrospect, they're all arguably so much more polite than this bag of pus. Well, that wouldn't be fair now, would it? Now, if you let me explain...
No, F this and F you. I'll take my money elsewhere. Cancel my booking.
I very nearly laughed at this last bit, because I know why he made such a big deal about the larger table now. I would later find out that this particular cretin is stinking rich. He has daddy's money. But oh well, 1 booking cancelled, no sweat. The 3 boys leave, led by the walking testicle. That's when the next group of customers really turns the situation well around. I'm sorry, but I couldn't help overhear that they cancelled their booking. We haven't booked and we're 4 persons. Can we have their table instead? This is exactly why 1 cancelled booking for me on a busy day like this is no sweat. 1 person's trash is another's treasure, so to speak. I happily sit the 4 men down and the guys actually cheer when they bring the projector down. That's when it happens. Testicle McDoucheface rounds the corner and spots the projector. He re-enters the queue for tables and waits his turn. By the time he's up front, I can barely hide my grin.
So, we changed our mind.
Meaning he changed his mind and now wants the table. Now he realizes that nowhere else in the city has vacancy. I'm afraid your table's already been given away.
But we reserved.
Yeah, and you also communicated to me just now that you wish to cancel. I'm afraid your table was already given away.
You know, that's a really bad business practice. You should honor your commitments to reservations.
As long as the reserving party wishes to remain, which you did not communicate to me at all. I then leave the host stand and tend to that table. All the while, Chad is giving me a look that I can only describe as,
I effed up, but internally I'm gonna make sure this was all your fault.
Sweet, sweet karma. Our next post is by user/mermaidglittergirl. In high school, I was a pretty mild-mannered kid. I came from a very strict household and a call from the school was absolutely unacceptable. I also wanted approval from authority figures, as I rarely got it at home. So I kept quiet, did good work, and was generally well liked by my teachers. Like I said, it was a strict household and my outfits were closely inspected for modesty by my very conservative parents. If it passed at home, it wasn't going to get me in trouble. I tried hard to fit in with the other kids though, and found that wearing a layer underneath made regular outfits pass the home dress code. So I still got to wear the distressed jeans, but you could see black leggings instead of my knees. Not a huge deal, and it helped me feel better about my appearance. At least socially anyway. As trends were set, leggings became super popular. Finally, I was ahead and on point with my style. Some girls did begin to abuse the system though. Some school dress code required skirts to be no shorter than 3 inches, 1 index card above the knee. Standard was suddenly lots of denim miniskirts with leggings, so the school cracked down and said leggings were no longer allowed under skirts. Of course, since I had different home rules, I didn't even own a skirt that short. My skirt had to reach my knees, which was 3 inches longer than the school requirement. I didn't even mention the new school rule at home because I didn't think it was an issue. So I get super cute wearing my knee-length denim skirt and leggings as it was still trendy and a bit chilly out. Pass home inspection and head off to school. Nothing was said in my first 3 classes, but like I said, I was a good kid and always well covered. One of the super mean teachers, not even mine, just one standing outside her door, spotted my skirt and leggings in the hall and grabbed me and marched me down to the office. I knew of the rule change, but I truly thought it wouldn't be a big deal since I wasn't wearing a miniskirt. She shoved me in and yelled something about a dress code violation and left to return to her class. I was called in, thinking the principal, who I didn't know well, would laugh with me about her unreasonableness. Boy was I wrong. He screamed up and down how I dressed inappropriately, and he would be calling my parents to come get me to take me home to change. Oh no. Oh no. As I stood and turned around showing him my clothes, I tried to argue that my skirt met code and the leggings covered more. I even tried to explain that my parents would take it out on me in an aggressive manner. He wasn't going to hear any of it. I had to think fast. Cue malicious compliance. While he was still looking for the number to call, I kicked off my shoes and began wriggling the leggings down and off. Right there in his office in front of him. Since my skirt was long enough, I shoved my pants in my bag and stated that now he had no reason to call my parents. I was fully compliant with the dress code of the school. As he stared with his mouth agape, I could see him turning red while trying to figure out how to deal with me. He ended up just yelling, "Get out of my office! Get to class!" Never have I felt so relieved. And it's a good thing no one walked into that office while that was happening because the principal would have had to answer some serious questions then. Alright everyone, that's it from me. I hope you enjoyed this little video, and if you did, subscribe to the channel for Reddit videos every second day, and also leave your comments down below telling me your own stories. But with that said, that is it from me. I hope you all enjoyed, and all I want to do is see you all here next time. See you later, guys.